So with that, I'd like to introduce former Councilman-at-Large, Joe McCarthy. My son said that the mic was in the way, so I'm going to cheat a little bit. How's that, Joe?
That's good. Yeah.
Okay. My name is Joseph Joe McCarthy on the ballot. I was a former councilman before, but I'd like to tell you a little bit of history about Hammond and why I'm running. I remember back in '83, and we have two McDermotts we're talking about, so I'll refer to him as older McDermott and McDermott 1. What sparked my political interest was that after McDermott won his election, he went to the first council meeting. And at that first council meeting, it was still loaded up with all Democrats. And as McDermott was talking, back then, the council seats were turned, their backs were facing the audience. And that's all you saw was a bunch of people that had their arms folded and weren't paying any attention to what this new mayor had to say. So I'm not a shy person, so I got up when it was my turn on the public expression to say a few words, and I paused, and I waited, and all of a sudden they started turning around. That's why I'm glad I got your attention, because the arrogance that you're showing here today is going to lead to your demise the following election. And they all know that, know what you're talking about, straight Democrat. Well, the following election, McDermott won again. We elected former Mayor Dwayne Deedle as Councilman-at-Large. We elected Janet Moran as a 4th District Councilman, and we elected a Republican judge, Diana Cross-Gonzalez. I came in, it was a tight race for Councilman-at-Large, but Dwayne, I think it was within a couple hundred votes, we were all right there, and another 50 or another 100 votes, we would have had 2 Republicans on that council. And every race across the city was tight. And the Democrats had to regroup. What the heck happened? There was arrogance. There was arrogance on the part of those that are in power today, repeating the history of what happened in '83, that are going to see it again in '07. And with this group of candidates that we have here, we have something that we can turn around and tell the public there is a different person on the block that understands what a two-party system is. It tickled me to death as I was reading the papers that the Democrats have decided, the anointed ones, are going to lead the city of Hammond in a new direction. But in what direction have they decided to lead? Well, we might as well just give up the next election cycle, because the Democratic Party has already decided what's best for you, the voters. The people that are actually going to go to the poll booth and say, I am for or I am against this person based on these issues. I am currently the city chairman. It was my responsibility to try to bring a different viewpoint about politics in the city of Hammond. And that was to engage the citizenry. That was to engage the issues. That was to understand what's going on. And the internet has been both a godsend and also a curse. But there's been a lot of good people that have posted very good questions and have done their research based on the technology that we have today, which is internet surfing. Information is available to anybody about anything if they do a little bit of digging. Brings me to my first issue that as a councilman, if elected, I will sponsor an ordinance to post all city business on the internet so that anybody at any time can look and see what their government is doing. It is your tax dollars, not theirs, yours. Because I've served on a council before, and it was always done, business was done in a committee, public wasn't informed, meetings were held, policy was decided, and then policies were mandated to the citizenry. There was no give and take with the payers. So your taxes were spent according to the selection of the few. A councilman-at-large is supposed to oversee the welfare of the whole city and work with the district councilman in order to deliver the best services for tax dollars that they're paying. Back in '93, we passed a riverboat referendum that allowed the city to undertake infrastructure, major infrastructure repair. The biggest investment that anyone is ever going to make is in their homes. Their home is their biggest single investment. They need sewers. They need water pressure. They need street lighting. They need streetscape. They need to know that their investment is going to be sound so that when they do sell their home, it's going to be worth something. Flooding used to be the main thing back in '93 and forward. When you heard the sirens going on, there's fire trucks moving from one end of town to another end of town to drop a hose to circulate the water in an already overfilled system. Thanks to riverboat monies, we came up with a formula and allowed each district to pour that money into infrastructure improvements. Roll the tape forward to today. We have become very dependent upon riverboat monies to make shortfalls in almost every part of the budget. Riverboat gaming was not meant to be a financial crutch for this city to operate on. If it was a business, it would have gone out of business a long time ago. What the government can do is engage in partnerships. I had the privilege, along with a lot of other people, to stand before the Indiana Department of Transportation and solicit for the public hearing on the intermodal project. Intermodal project, this is a project that outsourcing is not part of our concern. It's transportation, it's distribution, it's sorting. We are at the crossroads of America. Hammond, Indiana is tied into the ports. The ports are tied into the rails. The rails, and we all know how much train traffic's out there, God forbid. The problem with that is all the congestion and time is related to Chicago and its yards and its inability to move freight in and out at a rapid rate. So if we work towards the Gibson Yard development, we will build ourselves a sound future by moving into warehousing, distribution, public safety. It will all be for naught unless we put our policemen out there and we put our resources in front of them and we have the crimes that are being committed prosecuted according to the severity of the crime. We have overcrowded jails, but then we need to concentrate on the most heinous crimes first, and we need to look at monitoring, electronic monitoring. We need to make these criminals responsible, get their resources, put a brick on their wages, find out what they do have and brick it. To be responsible for this, but that seems to be the way that we're going. We need to streamline government. With today's ability, with new software, with people doing the same projects in other cities, we can come together and we can match our resources to drive prices down. Healthcare is something that we definitely have to think about. We have to work towards it with new modern innovations, medical technologies. Those costs can be driven down. But we have to work in cooperation with everybody in the industry. Your taxpayer money, your tax dollars, is not for government to take advantage of. It's for them to be responsible to make sure that they squeeze $1.50 out of a buck. And the only way we can do that is to work with private investors to make sure that they are successful so that they in turn employ people that will make a living in Hammond, and those people in Hammond will turn around and buy from local businesses, which will then turn around and spend into bigger investments because business attracts business, success attracts success. As your councilman-at-large, my commitment to you is to work on the Gibson Yard to make sure that it is shovel-ready for development and that we have a city that is growing and we have a city that provides opportunity and we have a city that's growing. The GOP, growth, opportunity, and progress. The voters, once they hear this message, will decide to vote for the person, and the Democrats will be floundering and saying, well, you should be voting for the party, but when you scratch the surface, the issues are on our side. I stand ready to be elected as your councilman-at-large, and I hope that you'll help me and talk to your friends. Thank you very much.